prophecy coming to pass real fast. Apostle Tahar, making sure this is recording.
And I'm going to entitle this video The Northern Army Prophecy. So I'm going to let you listen to this. This is Patrick Humphrey. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Title 100,000 soldiers just activated for war with Iran. Trump makes major announcement. That 100,000 is going to, however big the four branches of the military is, that includes the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, Special Forces, Navy SEALs, whatever you want to call them, Air Force. I did mention the Navy. Every member of all four branches of the military will converge in the Middle East, fulfilling Joel chapter 2, verse 20. And I will read it in a couple of different versions. I'm going to let this play, but first let me just pull up the scripture. Just let me pull up the scriptures. I'll read it in the King James. Then I'm even going to ask chat, what's the GMS take on this particular prophecy? So now you're going to get a lot of quick hits from us. There's a lot of breaking news, and we're going to hit it, give you a precept, and move on to the next one. So don't be surprised if I put 20 videos up in a day, and they might be short, little 5-minute videos here, 3-minute videos there, more shorts, and the regular videos that we do. But you're going to get a lot of quick hits. Okay, so Joel, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is coming to pass. You're going to get them women. You're going to get them women. And that includes women of the other nations. And they're going to be virgins too. All the women that you're going to get, the 7 women, they're all going to be virgins. So they're all going to be young. So I'm going to let it come up. Then we'll let Patrick Humphrey speak. Just wait a minute. Okay. And you can just hold chapters powerful. It's a relatively short chapter. 32, relatively short. The promise of the Spirit. That's visions, dreams, the day of the Lord. So this chapter right here. Let me come over here. So this is what I wanted. This goes into the destruction. So it goes into the utter destruction of Babylon the Great. But down here, it goes into the dreams. So the promise of the Spirit is going to come before this right here. Your first, second, third, fourth, first, and so forth. So it's not put in order. Like when you go to Revelation, like Revelation 20, it speaks in the first verse about 1,000 years, then in the fourth verse another 1,000 years, then in the seventh verse another 1,000 years. But it's not set up in that order. All right? So you don't read the scriptures like you read a textbook or a novel. So I got it set right here. I'm going to read it in a couple different versions. Joel 2, verse 20. And let me let this play. Okay, let me X this out.
And we are constantly updating you on what's going on. I'm constantly getting updates. And then sharing updates. That's what I try to do with my channel.
Okay, I didn't want this. Give me a second, let me X this out. Okay, this is what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play. I slowed it down. This is fair use, fair use, fair use. I'm also going to put the subtitles up as well so you can read along. And I can fact check. This guy, he's not going to tell you a lie. He fact checks everything. But you can fact check it yourself. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. Give me a second. 100,000 soldiers just activated for war with Iran. So let's take this. Let it come on up. Because when you're in that time, man, the next big thing that happened is the what? The MOTB.
Yep.
You know what?
And that could come in the midst of this war, by the way, because that'll destroy the economy. Can't reiterate that enough. That is definitely going to disrupt the economy with the Strait of Hormuz already closed.
Okay, let me just put that in there. Give me a second. Let's see what pops up. Let's see if this is in the regular news. This thing's moving slow. Just bear with it, and you'll see. Let's see what's going on. Gotta keep eyes on the news, man. Tomorrow morning I'll be fine. I'll have it on the financial news channels. Okay, so this is 7 hours ago. YouTube, CBS. U.S. confirms 3 troops. U.S. troops killed in war as Iran launches retaliatory, I guess, measures. Okay.
They're not telling you how many.
Claim,
by the way,
100 U.S. troops killed. Okay. U.S. naval vessel burns after Iran claims direct hit. So let's go to news. Let's see what's up. The network of Shiite militia that Iran can activate against the U.S. and Israel. Because if they're going for the U.S., they're going for Israel too. And the other Arab nations that are allied with the U.S. Iran, this is 9 hours ago, Iran, Israel war live update. Crew member killed in strike. They're not giving me what I want. And they suppress a lot of the news that's going on. They're going to do a lot of suppression.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
The casualties are a lot more large than they're saying. Just in the first day, hundreds were killed. They're not going to tell you that.
From. Let me go ahead and let this play.
100,000 soldiers in reserve are now being called up to be a part of the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran. Right now, we're also getting warnings from President Trump that this war could last at least another 4 weeks. That's what he's saying. This could last
30 days. That's what I picked up.
For a month. We'll get into his exact quote here in just a minute. So this isn't going to be a one and done thing like Venezuela with Maduro. This is expected to continue to go on for weeks, according to President Trump. He also just issued a new video on his Truth Social as well too, March 1st, Sunday. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see this video Trump just posted. We'll play that in just a minute. But I wanted to get into these other details here.
Watch what happens to brown fat when you drink this. Most people only use it on chicken or potatoes, but rosemary...
You can see here it says, live updates coming from CBS News. Trump says Iran operation could take, quote, 4 weeks or less. 3 U.S. troops have been killed. All right, so Trump made this announcement. You can see here, he made this announcement earlier today, all right, and he was talking to the Daily Mail. This is the quote here. Quote, it has always been a 4-week process. We figured it would be 4 weeks or so, the president said in a phone interview with the Daily Mail on Sunday. Quote, it's always been about a 4-week process, so as strong as it is, it's a big country. It'll take 4 weeks or less. He said he hasn't been surprised by what's happened in the operation so far. Quote, I think it's going as per planned, other than that we took out the entire leadership far, far more than we thought. Looks like 48, he said, reiterating a figure given to Fox News in a separate interview. Trump said earlier that he planned to talk with the Iranians, telling the Atlantic Sunday, quote, "They want to talk and I have agreed to talk, so I will be talking to them." He could not tell the Daily Mail whether those talks would be taking place soon. Quote, "I don't know."
Which is the puppet they plan to install, by the way.
Should have talked last
That's the one that wants to
not
talk.
this week. All right, so that's what's being reported here by CBS News and the Daily Mail, that this could go on for 4 more weeks, the operation. All right, and I think that they are.
If other Arab nations get involved, if Russia gets involved, it's going to go way beyond 4 weeks.
Establishing air superiority initially, the United States and Israel, and I think that's already.
Everybody's going to be drawn into the war.
And now they are kind of free to operate in the airspace and hit all the targets that they want to hit. All right, you can see here that it's saying that IDF Israel mobilizes 100,000 reservists amid war with Iran. All right,
That's not even regular army, that's reservists. They didn't sign up for that. IDF, Israeli Defense Force mobilized 100,000 reservists amid war with Iran. Now, the Northern Army will join forces with the IDF. So you can say that they're part of the Northern Army as well, because they're going to be a part of the same unit.
so this is huge. This is a major step that shows that this is serious and this is not just going to go away like the Venezuelan thing did. It happened very quickly. They captured Maduro. That was more of just a capture of a gang leader that they had a warrant for, and they brought him to the United States. It's a lot different than toppling an entire country on the other side of the world during a prolonged military campaign. So this is going to require a lot more manpower, a lot more firepower. So the IDF is mobilizing 100,000 reservists. It's a lot. You can see here it says the number appears to be in addition to the 50,000 reservists currently already on duty. It says ground troops have been reinforced on Israel's borders with Syria, Lebanon, the Gaza Strip, and in the West Bank. The military says the Home Front Command alone has mobilized 20,000 reservists, mainly for search and rescue efforts, according to the IDF.
Oh, they know they ain't going to do more than search and rescue. They going to be out there. They're going to be dodging bullets and missiles and so forth. They're going to be shooting people and killing people. So this thing is getting hot. Make a bloody chain.
Reinforcements were also made in the Israeli Air Force, Israeli Navy, and Intelligence Directorate. The IDF says, quote, "It will prepare and provide the reserve servicemen with all logistical means necessary to operate under the best conditions." So that's what's going on here. They are warning that 100,000 troops are going.
There's stories about IDF military men that are committing suicide. They're putting pressure on them. Putting a lot of pressure on them.
To be mobilized for Israel, and Trump at the same time is saying that 4 weeks at least for this operation. Okay, so we could see more U.S. troops mobilized, and Trump is even warning that 3 U.S. soldiers sadly have passed away. And
it's way more than
it
that.
was reportedly due to an attack on a base. All right, I think it was in Kuwait. Let me know what you guys think. Let's listen to this really quick.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of...
I don't know how true that is. I mean, they're saying it is, but I mean, get a man like that out there quickly. But he doesn't realize what he's getting involved in. The whole saying, you don't know what you don't know. He doesn't know what he don't. The military brass, U.S., the Senate, the the Congress, the House of Reps and the Senate, the Supreme Court, the generals. They don't know what they don't know. They don't realize that, you know, Babylon and Revelation and throughout the scriptures too, the prophetic scriptures, that it's a blueprint for what's going to happen to Babylon the Great. They have no idea, but they watch us. They got agents, and the agents are telling them, look, man, these guys are telling the truth. This place is done. This is Babylon the Great. Because you do have agents among all the camps. The guy that you cool with, just in your mind say, this dude might be an agent. And the agents are the ones that's cool. They never give you no trouble. The ones that get into trouble, they're not an agent. They're just a nigga. You know? Agents know how to stay under the radar.
Of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating.
I don't know how that works. If they didn't like the guy, that's one thing. But if another country takes the guy out, you got to be thinking, what's going to happen now? Because basically, whoever becomes a leader will become a puppet under Babylon.
In the streets,
And they have a puppet they want to install.
The entire
There's more.
military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue.
And this man is not the cruel Lord in Isaiah chapter 19. This man is not the king of Babylon in Isaiah 14 and Jeremiah chapter 50. This is not the king of Babylon.
At this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action.
They're lying about the figures. It's a lot worse.
2 American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
And that should be, I hope they're Edomites. Because Jake, you have no business being in this man's thing, I'll call it. But the ones of you that are part of it, you're going to die over there in the Middle East. You're going to die in that area between the Red Sea and the Euphrates. That area, the ancient world, in the ancient world it was called Havilah. That's in Genesis chapter 2. When it speaks about Havilah, that whole region of land between the Red Sea and the Euphrates, that's called Havilah.
Yep. The noise of their fall was heard in the Red
Even as
Sea.
we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives, we pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love.
He's lying to you about the numbers, man.
The fallen, and sadly, there will likely be more.
And that's just the way that it is.
The way it is.
There it is, right there.
Likely be more, but
That's
we'll
just
do
the way that it
everything
is.
But that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of
Just to install
Israel,
ISIS.
has never been stronger. America is now again the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons, would allow them to exploit
But you can
the
install
world
ISIS in Syria.
to an
Makes a
evil
lot of
world. We're going to
sense.
let it happen. We're not
Righteous America's going to come save everybody's ass.
happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term.
Yeah, it goes into their, that's why they call it beast. That's why they call them, well, they're the wicked, of course. The scriptures speak about them like the Roman Empire having iron teeth, or being made of iron. So this is Rome all over again, as we've been saying. It says in the New Testament, you must first bound the strong man. The strong man can later get bound. He'll be bound for that 1,000-year period, right? Talking from 325 to 1350, 1400, he was bound and he was loose. You know? So he's going to be bound and he's going to be destroyed right in the Middle East. Every military man and woman, whether it be Jake or not, when you go over there, you ain't coming back. You ain't coming back in a body bag. You ain't coming. You stay. You're going to be a permanent fixture of that place they call Havilah.
There's never been a military like we possess.
And that's pride. There's never been a military like we possess. That's our pride. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Pride coming before destruction, coming before a fall.
And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good.
They are more stout than their fellows. He doesn't realize that these NATO alliance nations are going to shoot, that possess missiles, they're going to shoot missiles on you.
We want to have it for a good purpose. We're
I'm tired of the
this
goddamn
massive
terrorists.
operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime.
You got to go into your history. You got to go into United States history, man. Your blood, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly.
This man is blinded by pride. Blinded with pride.
There's nobody more bloodthirsty than Esau.
Armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years,
They're gonna be thrown in that oven. Malachi 4. And all the proud, all that do wickedly, they shall become stubble. I'm merely paraphrasing Malachi chapter 4, first couple of verses. Behold, the day shall come that shall burn into oven. And yea, all the proud, all that do wickedly, shall be stubble.
these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's...
The least of the flock will draw them out.
Yep, Abad Babal. We say that.
Jeremiah 49 and Jeremiah 50. The least of the flock shall draw them out. That's why he mentioned Israel.
#1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do.
He's not considering prophecies. Paula White, which is a woman, evangelical, she's the Christian religious counselor of the president, of Trump. Now she should know prophecy. She should tell him, look, we shouldn't go to war because this
here's the repercussions,
and it's going to be destroyed. She ain't told him that because she doesn't understand the prophecies. These John Higgies and these other Christians, they're not these scholars.
They're not educated.
People that are deep into the scriptures. They're not telling them you can't do this because it's going to be the demise of Babylon the Great. And they were telling them this is Babylon the Great. You know why they're not telling them that? Because they don't believe that this is Babylon the Great. They don't believe that they're Edomites.
These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death.
They're going to be dead anyways.
I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise.
Take back your country so I can put a puppet leader up in there. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to put a puppet leader up in there.
To you,
Now, I've already seen what this puppet leader looks like, by the way.
The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Alright, so here's out there, that was President Trump making his speech.
Why would the Most High bless America when you can avoid your child? Adultery all over the place. Happy people all over the place. You got the Israelites. You got all the tribes. You got a lot to pay for, man. The wheels are going to turn, man, in our favor. Reversal of power, reversal of fortune.
Like trading places, we often say. So you can catch the rest of Apostle Tahar's video on his channel. About 34 minutes into it. Nero 47 opened a Pandora's box, and it's on Apostle Tahar's channel. What is the 666 Mark II GMS Truth? And that's the channel that he does. Well, like he said, he's going to be doing a lot of shorts too, just because there's breaking news constantly, and I try to gather as much as I can when I do my videos. Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honors the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth with sincerity, and shout out to Yakims out there in the four quarters of the earth proclaim this truth. Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash, Brakatum. So like everything else though, Russia has said a few words concerning all this. Political assassination. Moscow slams U.S.-Israeli strike against Iranian leader. Because it was a political assassination. Ayatollah Khamenei and the members of his family were killed by the U.S.-Israeli strikes. The U.S.-Israeli political assassinations against Iran have no place in a civilized world, Russian Foreign Ministry said. Commenting on the death of the Islamic Republic's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei and U.S.-Israeli strikes. So, like everything else, though, Moscow met the news of Khamenei's death with outrage and deep sorrow. The ministry said in a statement, the Russian Federation resolutely and consistently condemns the practice of political assassinations and the hunting of leaders of sovereign states, which contradicts fundamental principles of civilized interstate relations and blatantly violates international law. So like everything else though, eventually they're going to get more and more involved. But for right now, you're just hearing the regular, okay, we condemn this, etc., right? Like what goes on in a stupid UN meeting. Oh, we condemn the actions of it, but they don't do anything about it, right? That's all going to change real soon. Eventually this, being held back thing, they're not going to let Iran fall like Syria did. Okay, and I was really surprised about Syria because that it took them 13 years to bring down Syria. They officially brought down Syria by the end of 2024 after 13 years of internal messing with and everything else. Iran's not like Syria, but nonetheless though, Bashar al-Assad did seek asylum in December 2024, which had led to Hayat al-Sham, ISIS, to take over the country. It's not going to go that way. And they think that because, okay, well, Russia didn't really do anything about Syria, that the same stands with Iran. Trump-Netanyahu war aims to entrap Iranians into unconstitutional or unconditional submission. Unconstitutional, right. Constitution's a joke. Offensive intends to cause civil war in Iran on the model of Syria and Libya, with millions forced to flee the country. That's what they're hoping to do. That's what they're hoping to do. That he can just topple the regime, and that's why he's saying 30 days. He thinks that he can just topple the regime like he did with Saddam Hussein. Yeah, they killed the Ayatollah. Well, guess what? Iran already has a new Ayatollah, by the way. A Shia cleric. They also replaced the IRGC commander that they did kill. So, hey, they've always had contingency plans. And the casualties are a lot worse than what they are reporting. It's a lot worse. Hundreds have been killed on the U.S. side. And definitely even more on the Israeli side. There's a lot of shit that happened to both Jerusalem and to Tel Aviv in the retaliatory attacks. On Saturday, President Trump announced that the United States launched a major attack against Iran. Well, we already know that. Israeli military declared that the joint U.S.-Israeli attack targeted dozens of military targets against Iran. Trump said the operation was intended to devastate Iran's military, culminate its nuclear program, and bring about a change in its government. Yeah, I can see the change in the government, all right. So like everything else, though, well, we get to see the fun stuff now. The cool shit is about to happen as these Edomites are puzzled, and they're going to start freaking out eventually, but nonetheless, though, they still have in their mind that they can just topple Iran like they did with Syria and Iraq. And Syria took years, by the way. They didn't just do it overnight. So here we go, World Alternative Media, their view, because these Edomites, they're going to start feeling it really soon, especially once the true figures come in.
Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and, well, we are witnessing an Iran war. Of course, this year has already been extremely exhausting, And for those that say it's not the same as Iraq, people, you gotta give your head a shake. This has been planned long before Trump was around. This is a 7-country agenda, and it's something that we have been warning of for a very long time. As Gulf states condemn Iran retaliatory strikes, as Russia denounces unprovoked U.S.-Israeli war. We have air defense systems in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait intercepting Iranian missiles targeting U.S. military installations. Of course, we saw shocking videos and photos out of Dubai recently, including iconic buildings being struck. I want to point out that people are telling me on the ground there that everything seems fine and they're going along with their regular day-to-day agenda, which is, going to restaurants and walking around and doing things. They are saying it's overblown in the media, and being here in Puerto Vallarta, I know a thing or two about things being overblown in the media, but nonetheless, this is a full-scale war happening. We see these videos, these scenes from Israel right now.
These fucking bastards deserve every bit of it.
Missile defense systems coming out of, by the way, population centers in Israel are shooting missiles out of the ground. So they always say the Palestinians, or Hamas hides behind the innocent lives of Palestinians. Meanwhile, Israel literally has missiles.
Oh, and their leader, King Bibi, fled to Germany, by the way.
Buildings.
Just like the Kuwaiti ambassador.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, he fled to Saudi Arabia when Saddam Hussein took over Kuwait.
Right now.
They're really courageous, aren't they?
We have
leaving their people to die.
Jihad being declared by Iran, as well as a fatwa against the United States. And of course, Donald Trump and Senator Tom Cotton said this could last about 4 weeks. I heard this in Iraq, and all the while, my friends, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. This is a major hit to the supply chain worldwide, all by design.
Yep.
We're going to be going into this.
The MOTB could come out of that.
Already seen my interview with Patrick Henningsen from 21st Century Wire. To please go check that out. It was from just 4 days ago. We posted this, and it goes into detail as to how the Iran war will play out and why it's happening and the reality behind all this. But anyway, before I get into this news, I urge people to check those links below and get prepared today. And in the
So here we are
on this. In fact, he has already said that he wants to go to war with Israel. There's so much here that is obviously scripted. Israel has been pushing for the Greater Israel Project for some time. And Iran's not even in the borders of the Greater Israel Project, but as Patrick Henningsen went into with us recently in our video report with him, in our interview with him, it's much bigger than just that. There's an overall arching agenda that has been in place for a long time. In fact, Patrick had flown from Iran to Puerto Vallarta to talk with us just days before all this went down. So, very good perspective that people need to pay attention to. Iran declares jihad as anti-U.S. riots spread across the Middle East. Senior clerics issue fatwa against America, saying vengeance is religious duty for all Muslims, says the Telegraph. Again, as we saw with the Iraq War, they're saying this could last weeks, not days. Initially, they said it would just be days. And of course, Trump has said in the past, only when a president is losing is when they then declare war on Iran. He said this before, and the Epstein files actually showed a message where they talked about how when Trump is pushed into a corner, he will declare war on Iran. I mean, okay, people will say, well, what about this? What about that? What about Bush? What about Obama? What about Biden? What about isms? What about isms? Trump is the first president in history to launch 9 wars in 1 year, or launch 9 attacks on other countries, I should say, in 1 year. Obama mass murdered kids with drones, no doubt about it. Bush killed 2
especially in
million
Libya.
people, no doubt about it. Again, all part of the same agenda too, regarding the Middle East. Iraq decides they're not going to use a dollar anymore and use gold instead, and they get overthrown and taken out. And they say, well, Iraqis, many of them celebrated. They celebrated Saddam Hussein being overthrown.
And they're trying to say the same by Ayatollah Khomeini, by the way.
In Iran right now about the Ayatollah. But what is celebrated and what the overall agenda is and who actually benefits from this are very different things, as we saw with Libya as well. And as we saw with Syria, with, they're using chemical gas against their own people. We know that wasn't true. I tried to tell people at the time, but I was just an anti-Trump leftist back in 2017 for saying that, of course, Assad wasn't gassing his own people 3 days after they were told that the United States wants to work with him. Like, it's so obvious. And then recently they said Iran's going to do the same thing. And they said since the 90s, and with Netanyahu's help, same person who went in front of Congress and said Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, they said Iran has weapons of mass destruction. They're weeks away or months away from nuclear weapons. Then as it got closer last year, excuse me, as it got closer last year around June, when they initially attacked the military base in Iran, the United States and Israel both, they said, now he's weeks away from nuclear weapons. Then they attack him, and then they said, we got rid of his entire nuclear arsenal. And then they say, they have nuclear weapons, we need to attack them. And they kill the Ayatollah Khomeini, who, by the way, is one of the most loved people in Iran. This is going to snowball in a way that most people can't comprehend, and has been.
Hey, at least he's seeing it, right?
Because instability worldwide, as we see one of the top allies of Russia and China get attacked in this way. Alas, there's lots to go into in this video. There's so much that I can't cover everything, obviously. But I've also done so many videos on this, and I don't feel any different now than I did before. So many of you have seen that. But Zero Hedge says Iran names interim successor to Khomeini under second day of massive bombs. Trump demands regime change. Well, again, this guy, his name is Ali Reza Arafi. He's the interim Ayatollah right now, a Shia cleric, who's loved by many, but is also way higher up in the rhetoric than Khomeini is. So, worth pointing out, this guy means more business than Khomeini. So, for that reason, they just shot themselves in the foot, if it isn't completely 100% scripted, of course. Iranians flood streets in mourning as Tehran confirms assassination of Supreme Leader. Head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Ali Larijani, said after Khomeini's assassination that Israel and U.S. assets in the region will be hit like never before. Now, I want to point out, people say, well, what about the protests? This idea that they killed 50,000 protesters is nonsense. Most of the records show that almost everyone that got killed were government officials.
Mossad.
It's a complete hoax. And millions in Iran are furious over what just happened, as we see in the streets, people yelling for revenge. Absolutely crazy. And by the way, I mean, that is the real show of support there. All these claims that, of course, oh, well, protesters want to fight Iran, or they want to fight the government. They want the Shah back. You know, after the 1953 military coup that placed the Shah in power and then led to the Savak police, which led to countless people dead and disappeared, in full support of Israel. That's what they really want. It's complete support of a country like Israel that mass murders hundreds of thousands of people. So, of course, they had to make it look like they killed their own people recently, but, of course, this is not the case. Of course, I'm not saying they didn't kill anyone of their own. Of course, it's a government, and governments are governments, so they'll do that kind of stuff. But the reality versus what they said, remember, Mike Pompeo, the former head of the CIA, said himself that Mossad is in the crowds manipulating the protests. Why else do you think they'd blow up mosques? Like, why would Iranians blow up mosques? And they say, oh, women aren't allowed to even show their hair. First of all, they are able to show their hair.
They choose not to.
Do show their hair in Iran. And as Patrick Ennington pointed out, and I thought it was an interesting point, what's with the West and nakedness and nudity? Like, they claim to be conservatives, but then want women to be more sexualized. Let them have their culture. Why are you so obsessed with showing women's skin in?
Because Babylon the Great is the whore, as spoken of in Revelation, right? We know that the whore is Babylon the Great, and they want everybody to look like a filthy fucking whore, like America is. America is that filthy fucking whore. She's a whore, and she's a hammer of the whole earth. But nonetheless, so all these places are going to rise and detest it. You know, I mean, it's a lot more than detesting. You're going to show a lot of them are going to be in unity with the U.S. and the Israeli state. Yeah, of course, because those were Islamic countries that did, in fact, support the war and launched sorties from their bases to attack Iran. So, of course, like everything else, though, they're already involved. They were involved when the attack went in. They were on board with King Bibi's plan to attack Iran. They were all, and so, of course, they're going to join in the fight. But guess what? Russia and its allies are going to come to the defense and eventually come down into Tel Aviv and wipe it out. You know, and they're getting hammered, by the way. But this is another thing that's going on. There is fatigue amongst the Babylonians. They don't even want to fight. You already seen them flushing the toilets last week, you know, on the ships themselves. You know, the one that just recently arrived that they've been bragging about. Oh, just, you know, the carrier is just there. And by the way, one of the carriers that did get hit by 4 intercontinental ballistic missiles has fled. Okay, I don't have any articles on that, but it fled. It didn't get sunk, but it did get hit. But they're not going to tell the U.S. people that. You know, they're going to downplay it and say that didn't happen. That you know, Iran did not do that, but they did, and they had to retreat it, obviously, and get it out of the area because it was getting hit. 3 U.S. F-15s down over Kuwait as Iran war spirals. Reports of paranoia, anxiety at Pentagon. A lot of these people know that the retaliation is going to be a lot worse than what they're telling the people, and a lot of them don't want to do it. It is only day 3 of Operation Epic Fury. Americans are waking up to shocking images of U.S. fighter jets going down over Kuwait and the incredibly rare scene of pilots parachuting with a look of disbelief and confusion. They don't want to be a part of it. They're ejecting, as you can see here. You know, hopefully it plays. Yeah, eject, abort, abort, abort. So there they are. They don't want to fight that bullshit. There's fatigue among them. There was fatigue on the aircraft carrier as well. 3 fighter jets downed in Kuwait. 6 American crew members eject safely, Kuwait's defense ministry said. 3 American fighters were downed in Kuwait on Monday amid the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. The U.S. military said the F-15 aircraft went down due to apparent friendly fire incident. Iran, however, claimed to have shot down the jets near Kuwaiti border. According to the U.S., the aircraft were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defenses during active combat, which included attacks from Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles, and drones. So there you go. It could have gone either way, but nonetheless, though, their systems ain't intercepting Iranian missiles. It actually shot at their own jets, is what it's looking like. Which Iran could definitely claim that because of course, they were attacking Kuwait at the time, and well, it's just all a part of war, you know, because that's just the way that it is. American warplanes crash in Kuwait as 555 Iranians killed in U.S.-Israeli assault. You know, they're not being truthful about the casualties on the U.S. side. They say 2 here, maybe 5 here, or maybe 20 there. But they're not telling you that it's been hundreds that were killed in the first day. They will, however, tell you that, and maybe even exaggerate how many they killed against Iran. At least 555 people have been killed by U.S. and Israeli attacks against Iran, while retaliatory attack by Tehran at a U.S. base in Kuwait led to aircraft crashing. So even they're confirming that it was because at the time Kuwait was being hit, and they may have fired against the jets, and they had to. Either way, F-15s were still shot down, and yeah, you could say that that Iran did it. Iran was attacking at the time. Iran's army confirmed that it targeted the base on Monday as well as vessels in the Indian Ocean, adding that it launched 15 cruise missiles in the latest attack. All crew members with Kuwaiti authorities saying their search and rescue missions are underway, as well as an investigation to determine the cause of the crash. It is not known yet if the planes were down by friendly fire or Iranian missiles, which we know it's friendly fire, because they were shooting anti-aircraft fire at the time when it was coming in from Iran. So either way, you know, you may as well go ahead and claim and say, yeah, we shot them down, you motherfuckers, you know. And this is great. I'm enjoying this, man, because I want to see every fucking Edomite destroyed. I want to see every Amalekite fucking destroyed. They fucking deserve to die. They've been oppressing us for so fucking long. I want to see many dead. I want to see ships sunk. I want to see casualties up to fucking yin-yang. At least 31 killed in Israeli aggression on southern Lebanon after Hezbollah strikes. Yeah, Hezbollah's getting involved too. Because guess what? For the first time they actually broke ceasefire. I don't have the article on that, but they did break the ceasefire, but this will go into it a little bit, because this is a retaliatory strike from the Israeli state. At least 31 people, most of them women and children, were killed in attacks by the Israeli state across southern Lebanon, following Hezbollah's entry into the front line in the defense of Iran. The towns of Al-Atran and Ida al-Shawab were also struck by artillery. Well, the Israeli state has been violating the ceasefire for so long anyway, so you may as well just go ahead and join the fight. Israeli state ordered residents of more than 50 villages and towns in eastern and southern Lebanon to evacuate immediately and stay at least 1 kilometer away from the Hezbollah-controlled infrastructure. So, like everything else, though, it continues to escalate. And we're going to look at Press TV Live because, and I can't guarantee how well this will play because, as you know, it jiggles. I try to have everything on the VLC player, but you can't do that with videos that are actually live. But this is. And the Muslim that's over here, she was actually detained a couple of years ago by the Biden administration, and they tried to get her to eat pork, by the way, when she was held hostage over here. The U.S. held her hostage because of reporting. You know, I don't know why she came to the U.S., but she did. And nonetheless, though, she's reporting now from live. Like I said.
Something, again, I think the Trump administration, I think Donald Trump himself is absolutely clueless about this. They thought that this assassination, you know, his daughter and son-in-law and grandchild and a bunch of other figures, the defense minister, the head of the IRGC, you know,
and previous president was killed too.
That was a hit that shouldn't happen that way, and it's terrible that it did. But the assumption, I think, on Donald Trump's part was that, oh, that's going to be it. It's going to be decapitation. When he was asked by the New York Times yesterday how he thought he was going to affect regime change in Iran, he said, well, just like Venezuela. Venezuela is the perfect case of how to do that. You know, and I think he thinks this is going to go down just like Venezuela. were serious authorities.
Yep, they think that they can just put in a puppet, right? Like I said, it's going to break up and all that because this is live. And you know how live videos are. I'm just trying to get a perspective on what's going on.
Iran continued its research and test fires for its long-range missiles. The path that led them from the Shahab to the Sejil, another achievement by Iran in the design and production of solid-fuel ballistic missiles, was made in 2008 by test firing the Sejil missile. Iranian defense officials announced that the missile has a range of about...
Yeah, so like everything else, you know, they have more missiles to come. And this is going to... Hey, Russia's going to get involved very soon, too. Deadly Iranian missile attack hits west of occupied Jerusalem. Iran has escalated attacks against Israeli state and U.S. bases in the Gulf hours after the assassination of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. 9 Israeli terrorists were killed and nearly 30 others injured on the 1st of March in an Iranian ballistic missile strike against Beit Shemesh settlement west of the occupied city of Jerusalem, coming as part of major escalation of Tehran's attacks against Israeli state. And of course the U.S.
Oh shit! So motherfucking
yeah, fuck Amalek. Oh. Fuck you. I'm cheering as they do this, you know. Ba ba ba.
מקלט ספק גאה שירה. יש פה מישהו? מישהו פה?
Goddamn gutter rats. IRGC Army launched fresh wave of missile strikes against the Israeli state and U.S. targets. The IRGC said in a statement on Monday that homegrown Kaiba missiles were deployed in the 10th wave of massive precision missile strikes deep inside the occupied territories as part of Operation True Promise 4. Precision strikes on the regime's administrative institutions in Tel Aviv, attacks against military and security installations in Haifa, as well as areas in East Al-Quds were among the objectives of Iranian missile strikes, the statement read. It added, "We had earlier warned of plans to escalate attacks against enemy bases in the Israeli-occupied lands and declared that sirens will never cease blaring across the occupied territories." The IRGC advised illegal residents of occupied lands to keep distance from military bases as well as security and administrative centers and immediately depart from the territories. You know, just telling them, hey, get out. This is a legitimate target. You know, and like everything else, though, they actually did hit a nuclear power plant. You won't hear that in the mainstream, but it happened, as this video shows. So they want you to think that the casualties, there's maybe 2 or 3 here, maybe 20 killed there, you know, just keeping the figures low. They're downplaying it. Both King Bibi and the U.S. are downplaying the amount of casualties received. Burn, bitch, burn. See, I'm actually cheering it on. Because I hate fucking Amalek. And you should too if you're an Israelite. And like everything else, though, you know, explosions and emergency warnings reported in Jerusalem. As this report goes into. Music to our ears, knowing that, okay, the Most High is speeding things up for the elect's sake, because we've been sighing and crying for the abominations being committed here in Babylon, and just, you know, after Syria falling, and just everything they've done to us. ISIS on the streets of Babylon, you know, declaring that we're illegal, but who's the one that came over here? They stole the land. These Europeans, these fucking goddamn Edomites are the ones that are illegal, and they have the audacity to say we're illegal. It's just, why don't you good to see. Oh yeah, it's bloodthirsty, all right. Ain't nobody more bloodthirsty than Esau. It's good to see he's getting what's coming to him. You know, they're being dragged into this war. The least of the flock, Amalek, dragging them into the war. It's just good to finally see casualties, but they're not reporting that. You can definitely say that they're not really reporting how bad it actually is. And that's why I like trying to go to press TV to try to actually get some of the figures. Because they should know they're the ones coordinated the retaliatory attacks. But the U.S. is going to lie to its people and say, oh, 10 here, 20 there. But all kinds of moms are going to be getting fucking letters saying that their son died in their duty. And like they did with Iraq, eventually they'll be knocking on the president's door. Why did my son have to die? You remember that during Iraq? You know, well, this ain't Iraq. This is Iran, and this war is going to continue and continue. There are going to be uproars of the people everywhere, you know, because people are dying right and left, and they keep on lying about the figures. We saw that happen with Vietnam, and it's great. It's great to see history repeat itself, but this time, the casualties are going to be even longer and longer. Man, Iran has not even unveiled all the missiles that they got from Russia. And Russia is going to get involved in one form or another. Eventually, they're not going to just take a diplomatic stance. They are actually going to coordinate attacks along with Iran and wiping out places.
Well, let's now bring in our Middle East correspondent, Charlotte Dubinsky in Jerusalem, and Scotty Nell Hughes, the host of Perspective.
But Israeli state is getting hammered in retaliatory strikes.
First, a lot has unfolded since Saturday morning. Where are we as regards the latest attacks and the situation as it stands?
Well, the situation here in Jerusalem, just in the last few minutes, we've received another emergency warning. That means that the air sirens should be going off in the next few minutes. That means that Israel is expecting another attack from Iran. Of course, these are all retaliatory attacks starting from Israel and the US launching that attack on Iran starting on Saturday morning. Those attacks have continued ever since then. We have had 2 nights of emergency warnings here as the missiles are coming back at Israel. You talked about the fresh strikes overnight from Israel in Iran. We understand that the
Patriot missile ain't going to do shit. Neither is their Iron Dome.
Showing those huge plumes of smoke in the moment of impact when those Israeli strikes were hitting there. We've also now got Israel attacking the south of Beirut in Lebanon. That was following Hezbollah firing rockets into the north of Israel. The first time it's done that since 2004. I know Steve Sweeney's going to bring us up to date on that, so I'll move on to the situation here now, where we are facing more strikes coming in from Iran. Drones, there you go, the air sirens. I did warn you in them that they would go off. That means that people in this area should be heading to their safety rooms, their bomb shelters now, as more missiles are expected to come in. Let's talk about the air defense systems. They've been working incredibly well. We've seen them in operation, seeing them take out.
It's just fun to watch this live, man. You know, it's exciting.
But that's not always the case. You mentioned their situation.
Real 3D.
Where a missile managed to hit a Jerusalem highway.
Burn, Esau, burn.
And also on Sunday we saw the aftermath of a missile hitting in Bet Shemesh, which is just 30 kilometers away. 9 people killed as a result of that missile. And we've also had reports that the defense systems, as they're working, we're still getting debris that's coming down. One piece of debris actually hitting less than a kilometer from the Temple Mount. That's the Al-Aqsa compound, the most holy site for Jews, the third most
fucking goddamn gutter rats, they hate the Jews.
But as I say, that we understand that was a result of the defense systems working well. In terms of the wounded here, We have got 677 people being evacuated. In fact, I can now actually see a missile coming over. It's, I'm just going to talk you through it. It's looping back on itself, but it does look like it's going to strike in this region. In fact, I can now see a third one coming through as well. A fourth one, even up in the skies, lighting up above me, as those missiles are attempting to be impacted. In fact, and we look up and count the trails now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trails of missiles that have just come in the Jerusalem area. There, you might be able to hear the explosions. That is as they are being intercepted, although it does look as if one may have hit the ground. We'll bring you up to date on that later. I was
They're
just
going to
looking
exhaust
through,
their systems if they haven't already.
Injuries, and they evacuated 677 people evacuated to hospital. Of those, 166 in intensive care. Even how long is this going to last? Well, let's have a listen to the US President Donald Trump now, who suggested it could be weeks.
Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives.
It's just the way that it is.
There will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
That's just the way that it is.
The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. We are now using that military for good.
Yeah, don't discount Russia.
For a good purpose.
Mother Russia,
Well, we're hearing
Mother Russia,
bomb explosions here, as it seems that the Israeli defense systems are working in place. I said I could count 6 trails. That's on my right-hand side.
Hey, I'm just enjoying this. This is music to my ears, man.
That gives you a sense of how many missiles have hit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to continue, man. Watching the war in real time. You know, this should be exciting, man. If you know you're doing the work of Yahweh Shai, you should want to see an end to this place, knowing that, okay, you know, all my sacrifice, everything that I've done, you know, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off, you know. Not because I did it, but because Rakal Kadash gave me the spirit to speak against these things, right? Man, I had the wool over my eyes for years, you know, had the wool over my eyes, thinking that I was an Edomite, you know. Not knowing the word Edomite, but, you know, thinking I was a so-called white guy, right? You know, and all this bullshit now, you know, the veil being lifted. Finding out that I'm an Israelite foreigner. I look like the other nations, but I don't think like them. Man, I was never a racist guy. I used to laugh at racism, you know, but I really was never for that. Neither was my dad. My dad wasn't for all that, you know. Yeah, sure, you know, you catch all of it, but it's like, wait a minute, this whole place is based on nothing but hate. You know, my dad condemned all that stuff, you know. You know, my dad was from Mississippi, and he actually condemned all that. And he told me. He actually met B.B. King and used to go see him on the flip side of the street, you know, because you had the segregation. But my dad never thought like that, and I didn't either. You know, I kind of, you know, knew that it was more than just a black and white thing. Well, now, fast forward, after he died, this revelation came. Who the Israelites really were. And it came to me, and now, you know, give me the eyes to see and the ears to hear what the Spirit is saying, and then becoming filled, you know, and getting past that brainwash, you know. Babylon the Great is the hammer of the whole earth, and that, no doubt, is America. America's been the hammer of the whole earth, and like everything else, though, they're finally getting what they deserve, and it's just fun to watch. It's fun to watch because they think they can just topple, you know, they think, okay, great, we just killed Ayatollah Khomeini, and we're going to destroy Iran, and we're going to put in a new puppet government, and they're going to just heed to everything we say. Not going to happen. You know, Russia eventually will enter into the war, but through all this, they want to usher in the MOTB. Don't forget about that. The MOTB has to be mandated before it goes nuclear. We're getting close on all these things. Iraqi Shia faction claims drone attack against U.S. base at Baghdad airport. So, that was also hit in retaliatory strikes. An Iraqi Shia faction carried out drone attack against U.S. military base in Baghdad International Airport. Sara al-Alam, which operates under the umbrella of the Islamic resistance in Iraq, announced early on Monday that it launched a swarm of drones targeting the Victoria military base at the airport. On Sunday night, Sara al-Alam also claimed responsibility for shelling U.S. positions in the city of Erbil in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. So, hey, all nations are picking a side. All places are picking a side. And this war is getting bigger and bigger as, like everything else. So, well, there's even more about, these counter strikes. Not just from Iran, but from other countries.
Let's cross live now to the Fatah organization's reformist democratic faction spokesman and political analyst Dimitri Giuliani. Thank you for your time.
And I believe he reports
today.
for RT as well.
The Revolutionary Guard claims 560 American soldiers have been killed since Saturday. U.S. Central Command reports it's 3 and some more injured.
Yeah, exactly. 500 is a far cry from 3 here, 20 there.
Do you expect from the U.S. if American casualties continue to rise, as President Trump has warned himself?
I've watched the president speaking of the American casualties as a result of this Israeli/American assault on Iran, and I found it to be really strange. The American president is attacking a country of 92 million people, with, of course, driven by the genocidal state of Israel. And he is surprised, or he sounds surprised, to have casualties
he's not press TV.
among the American soldiers, American
he just looked like someone else.
And I believe that this is the sort of detachment that the White House has.
Yeah, they're downplaying
the
this.
American people, and with the even opinion polls, as this is a very, very unpopular military assault war, uncalled for, on behalf of Israel, that destabilizes the world's economy, and its reverberations is going to be felt all throughout. And I believe that the President of the United States of America should expect different sorts of reactions, because normally when you conduct an assault, you do not dictate the reaction or the field of the reaction, even though I believe that the Iranian political system as a whole is extremely weak and unable to defend itself.
Can I just expand on that, because it's an interesting point militarily as well. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that U.S. forces have never faced such a scale of attacks on its foreign bases. Will the Islamic Republic be able to keep up that pressure? As you say, the domestic issues at home have been ramping up. What is Iran's best case scenario right now?
I believe that it depends, because we are dealing with an Iranian political system that, after taking out the first tier of leadership and the second tier of leadership, basically left with the third and the fourth. And these are younger, more radical, less experienced class of politicians and military leaders. The reaction at the strategic mistake to expand the confrontation to include neighboring Arabian Gulf states is an indicative of the lack of experience and strategic look into the reaction of the Iranians. I believe that the Iranians, or at least a stream of the Iranians, would like to see a solution that is similar to that of Venezuela. Venezuela today.
Boy, what a liar. I don't think that Iran actually wants to become a puppet state like Iran, or like Venezuela. Iran's not like that. Russia's going to get involved very soon. And we're watching the end draw near in our time. You know, let the men of war come up. Let they beat their plowshares into swords, right? Is what it tells us, right? You know, let the weak say that they are strong. You know, where's that? I believe that's Joel chapter 3. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that unfold. I like the AMP version. It's not in Joel chapter 3, I guess. I thought it was. But like everything else, though, we're starting to see, though. We're starting to see them gather down. And that's the whole point, though, that we're watching it live, you know, right now. Joel chapter 3, verse 2, and like everything else, though, because these are a lot of allied places, they like to call them allied, nonetheless, though, that they host U.S. military bases, yeah, they're going to join in the fight, but Russia and its armies are also going to join in the fight. Joel chapter 3, verse 2, I will gather all the Gentile nations that were hostile to my people and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. The Most High has judged, and I will there deal with them and enter into judgment with them there for their treatment of my people, my inheritance, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and because they have enraged on my land and divided it up. You know, that's talking about the 1948 split between Palestine and the Israeli state. They cast lots for my people and traded a boy for a prostitute and sold girl for wine that they might drink. And that all happened to the transatlantic slave trade. No matter what anybody else tells you, that's exactly what it is. The transatlantic slave trade has everything to do with that. And have sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem unto the Greeks, so that you may send them far away from their territory. And so, like everything else, though, we are watching this in real time. Behold, I am going to stir them up from the place where you have sold them and return them to their land. And that's when the Yahweh Shai gathers his elect and returns us, right? You know, that hasn't happened yet. These 1948ers are not a people of the Most High. These are Amalek, but this time is coming, you know, in the midst of World War III. And I shall return your action of retaliation on your own head. And I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the children of Yehuda, and they will sell them to the Sabians, to a distant nation, for the Most High has spoken. And that's when we have our own slave trade. You know, when we gather all these fucking gutter rats and everybody else up, you know, which, you know, the elect of Esau, Edom, if you will, they're going to be saved. They're going to be saved from World War III. You know, the ones that are bunker busters, you know, or that bunker bust, you know, that you know, because Trump has the name Bunker Boy. All these people that are hiding in their bunkers and all that, they're going to be dug up, and they're going to be sold. Their children are going to be sold. You know, Trump and all his family, etc. Proclaim this among the pagan nations. Prepare a war. Stir up the mighty men. Let all the men of war come near. Let them come up. And that's what's happening. They're getting ready for this war that you already see happening. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. That's it right there. The weak, you know, these third world countries are going to say they are strong. Iran's not just a small country like Iraq or all those other places. But they're going to say that we are strong and that we will punish, you know, that we will punish the Zionist regime. We will punish the rest of them. And you're seeing that in the retaliatory strikes, even though they're downplaying it. Hurry and come, all you surrounding nations, and gather yourselves there. Bring down, O Lord, your mighty ones, your warriors. Let the nations be stirred to action and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. We're watching that in real time right now. For there I will sit to judge and punish all the surrounding nations. And that's what's happening. He's getting ready to punish each and every last fucking one of them. And it starts with Amalek and Esau, but also all the other nations that took part in it, because all of them were partakers in the transatlantic slave trade. You know, they're all going to be gathered into this war. They have to pick a side, and you're seeing, okay, you know, Qatar and you know, Yemen. Well, Yemen's more on the side of you know, of Iran, right? You know, Lebanon, you know, a whole bunch of these other places are going to be pulled in this war. They have to pick a side, you know. Gomer and all his troops, you know. You know, Persia, Ethiopia, all of them are going to be in this war. You know, they have to pick a side. But Russia's going to come to their defenses, and that's eventually going to lead to a nuclear war, starting with Damascus on down. So that is the Valley of Jehoshaphat, and we're watching it in real time. So like everything else, though, the next video, warning the end draw near in our time. Done beautifully, and just going to reiterate it, and we're going to fast forward, or going to forward that, right? You know, I know that I've gone past the hour. You know, usually I try to conclude these things within an hour, but it's just so much happening at the same time. Yeah, former Iranian president was also killed in the strikes. And he was their ruler for quite some time as well. Abdullah, I believe he was killed in some of the strikes recently as well. You know, I don't have that in today's video, but nonetheless, he was also killed. Abdullah, you know, was also killed. So there's a lot more casualties than what they're telling the people. So the end draw near in our time. Barak the Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, Wa Abba Babal. Brakatam, Jehovah Elect.
Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the whole flock of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, that give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba, not Yahuwah, not Hashem, not Yahweh, Haveh, Vaveh. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua, not Yahusha, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos. It's Yahweh Shah. So got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rukah Kodash. Give honors to the apostles, elder bishop, elders of great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether you accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim believing this truth and pushing this truth toward the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shed light to the whole elect. Shalom to the Akwath who are listening and learning, you from sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from GMS Orlando, Camp Prophet of Doom, coming at you another lesson in true fact, faith, and edification, another day of edification, Lord, which we edify. And this is Spiritual Rant, dealing with, I did a lesson on this last week, dealing with, they call it a Muslim-NATO alliance. So, what people don't understand is prophecy. Prophecy is what the world have been playing out the whole time with no understanding of it. The whole time it's been prophecy. Since World War I, which is prophecy when you read Revelations 9 and 12, it said one war is past, and behold, two wars come hereafter. Revelation 11:14 reads, the second war is past, and behold, a third war coming quickly. So Prophecy been playing out the whole time, but the world doesn't know prophecy. And the Lord said He's going to raise up in the last days men to prophesy the downfall of the so-called white man's last great white hope. So, this prophecy here, which is 2nd Ezra 15, when they say the dragons of Arabia is going to join with the Carmenians, which is the Arab nations aligning with the Iranian nations. And they're going to align with Russia, as in Ezekiel 38. But this is heavy because I did a lesson on this last week. NATO, it say Netanyahu says Israel will forge regional alliance to rival radical axis. Israeli Prime Minister says his country is working to counter what he called radical Shiite axis and emerging radical Sunni axis. Now, this other article, right? It says here, where is it? They said it won't work. Let me go here. Salakia. I put it in our chat. In our, let's go here. I think it's this one. Let's see. Nope. Salakia. Let me go back. So in this article, he says that it won't work. Where's the other article? I thought I had it. Salakia. Let me go back to Google. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on. I want to show this because they said that it won't work. You know what? Let me go back. Hold on. Moving too fast. That's my problem. Let me go back here and Google because I pulled it up. Let's go to this one. Right, this one here. The myth of an emerging Islamic NATO. Structural dependencies, internal rivalries, and U.S. strategic oversight make a NATO-style Muslim military alliance unworkable. So they said it's not workable. This is what I want to make the point on. This article and the other one, which I'm going to go back to, it say Palestinian troops help Saudi Arabia with defense, but it hardly constitutes the making of an Islamic NATO. Which they don't understand that that's in 2nd Ezra 15. That's the point I want to make on that. They don't get it. So let's go back over here. Right here. Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, says Israel will forge a regional alliance to rival radical axis. Israeli PM says his country is working to counter what he called radical Shiite axis and emerging radical Sunni axis. See, but this is 2nd Ezra 15, and they can't stop this. Now, I was looking at what these devils has been doing for a minute. I'm thinking about this the other day. Today, I think it was today, right? They've been killing the top nuclear physicists from Iran, the top generals. So they said, nah, they done killed this guy. The elder brother from GMS Valdosta, he put in the chat that the elder Yawanathan Abad out of one, he put top Iran IRGC commander Mohammed Pakpour killed in strikes. So they done killed this guy. He He been talking cash shit to Trump. So they killed this guy. So I said, man, let me go to these. So this is another article. It reads, Israeli strikes kill some of Iran's most powerful men, including military and nuclear leaders. They've been doing this shit strategically. Look at this. So I pulled up the list, right? So it say, according to reports from 2025, Israel, rather than the U.S., was responsible for a widespread campaign killing top Iranian officials, including Soleimani, Mohammed Bagher, Amir Allah, whatever that is, Hajaziha, head is so these men commander-in-chief of IRGC, chief of staff of armed forces, head of IRGC, Aerospace Force, commander of the Central Headquarters, nuclear scientists. So they've been knocking these guys off, man. The one died in 2024 and they died in a helicopter crash. They've been doing this strategically, man. This is the, I saw a self-driving car the other day. Nobody in it. But, yeah. So it's a major general in Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and commander of the Quds Force. See? Deputy commander of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces killed alongside Soleimani. East America, Babylon been doing this shit, man. Yeah. So I wanted to show this. So now they killed this guy. Has been eliminated after Israel strike levels his compound. See? Esau trying to go in there and take over Iran, man. Hey, but this, we know the RFID micro C here got it made mandatory.
Yeah, but we reiterate that a lot.
The guard ain't going for this, man. Which is Putin. Of whatever leader gonna be over Russia when World War III breaks forth. But they ain't finna stand for this. It's a Exodus reports that Iran's supreme leader was killed in an Israeli airstrike. A strike conducted as part of a massive joint military operation between the U.S. and Israel, according to the Israeli officials cited by the outlet. So, what's coming? World War III. Let's go to it. Revelation. See, they think this is a game. Oh, I meant to highlight this. They think this is a game. Let me highlight this to like it. Let's go to Revelation. It's Revelation 9 and 12, and it reads, one war is past, and behold, there come two wars more hereafter. Revelations 11 and 13. Revelation 11 and 14, Salakia. The second war is past, and behold, the third war coming quickly. You see? Oh, let's go to Isaiah. And 5, it reads, for every bout the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. What's it this? World War III, man. World War III is going to be fought with. It shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Thus saith the Lord. So while Babylon and Israel planning strategic moves, they've been knocking off all of Iran's top men, from the physicists, the nuclear physicists, and the army force strategists, and the leaders, man. See, this is Esau Edom, Babylon the Great America, which is ruled by the elites they playing making chess moves, man.
But they're really playing Russian roulette.
Hunting, man. This is the cunning hunting of the so-called white man. So while they don't think that the Islamic, let me go back to that. That's what I want to go back to. Let me go back to this. The myth of an emerging Islamic NATO, right? So I did a lesson on this, which is 2nd Ezra 15. So let me pull this up. It reads, a overview. An emerging defense bloc, often termed Islamic NATO, is formed around the 2025 strategic mutual defense agreement between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and Turkey, and talks to join. It aims to mirror NATO's Article 5, where an attack on one member is considered an attack on all. The alliance blends Saudi Arabia, it blends Saudi financial resources, Pakistan nuclear military strength, and Turkish drone technology and military expertise. Key details about the evolving alliance, often referred to in early 2026 as a Muslim NATO, includes core components. The alliance is built on a strategic mutual defense agreement signed in September 25, primarily between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Strategic strengths: it combines Pakistan nuclear capabilities and military personnel, Saudi Arabia's financial backing, and Turkey's advanced combat proven defense industry, including drone technology and naval vessels. Article 5 mirroring reports indicate a clause where an attack on all create a collective defense mechanism. So it's a motivation. This alignment is driven by a desire for increased regional autonomy and security, particularly in response to perceived limitations of Western alliances and changing Middle Eastern dynamics. This is 2nd Ezra 15, man. So what they talking about, it ain't gonna work. Well, according to prophecy, it is gonna work. Let's go there and read this. And these devils are something else, man. But this is prophecy. This is supposed to be happening exactly the way that it's happening. 2nd Ezra 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear may fear and tremble. Also the Comedians, which is the Persians, the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild bulls of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and they shall waste a portion of the land of the Syrians. This is modern day Syria. There's the Edomites, the so-called white man, which is Israel, and America. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, and say, then these shall be troubled, bled, and kept silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread, and strife among their kings. So this is happening right now, man. The prophecy of for that to be on Google, the Islamic NATO, for that to even be on Google, show you the prophecy of 2nd Ezra 15. For that to be on Google, man. to this. The myth. See? Again, this ain't no myth, man. This is real. This is real. In recent months, sections of the media and strategic commentary have been abuzz with claims that countries such as Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey are moving towards the creation of an Islamic NATO. That's Second 15. The narrative suggests that amid a rapidly shifting geopolitical landscape in West Asia, the Eastern Mediterranean, where was it? The Eastern Mediterranean and South Asia, Muslim majority states are seeking a collective security arrangement outside traditional Western frameworks and independent of the United States. Pakistan leaders have also contributed to this disclosed discourse. Deputy Prime Ministers suggested that if more Muslim countries join such arrangements, it will effectively become a new NATO. See? So this is this is Second Ezra, man, 15. Second Ezra 15, man. So while these devils is around here playing fucking games, he's trying to dismantle the Shia and Sunnis, which is prophecy in Second Ezra 15, man. The Muslims, nations aligned. Look at this. India's prime minister. And he joined with Putin. He on the bricks. See? Sure, this all is a game, man. But this is how the Lord moving these strategic chess moves, man.